This video is brought to you by my absolutely incredible patrons. Seriously, I would not be able to bring you all this content without them. Thank you all so much. If you want to join them, head to the link on screen or click the link in the description. If we reach my current goal, I'll be able to come to a USA convention a lot sooner and finally meet a lot of you. But for now, enjoy the video. Hello, and welcome to this week's episode, the corner edition. Yeah, my recording room is still having some fixes, so sorry, no fan art wall again, but it'll be back next time, I promise. But this week's episode is about scams in the fandom. What to look out for, how to protect yourself, what to do if you have been scammed. What is a scam? Well, that's when someone who really sucks lies to you or cheats you so that you're at a loss. Usually a loss of money. You know, like when people ring up your grandparents pretending to be from Microsoft and, you know, getting remote access into their computers and pretending to fix viruses that are out there, taking advantage of their, you know, senile computer illiteracy, and then loading their computer with viruses and then charging an extortionate amount of money to fix it. That's a scam. Thankfully they don't get that elaborate in the furry fandom, but there are still some people out there who really suck. So you just need to watch out before they catch you off guard. One extremely important thing I need to make clear first. When sending money with PayPal, always send via goods and service, not family friends. PayPal considers it a gift. So if something goes wrong, you need that money back, PayPal's like, we can't do anything, you gifted it to that person. But if you do it as a goods and service, then you get buyer protection. So when something goes wrong, you can file a dispute. So if anyone asks you to pay them for a service, for art or a person or anything, under friends and family, abort mission, abort. They might try and guilt you and be like, oh, I don't have much money, I can't afford to pay for the PayPal fees and stuff like that. One, that's against PayPal's terms of service. You're not allowed to make your buyer pay for PayPal fees. And two, they just want to do that so that when they run off with your money, you have zero standing ground on getting it back. It is a foolproof way to get away with someone's money, so don't fall for it. Always send for goods and services. So let's start with artwork scams. Now there are scams aimed at both buyers and artists, so you need to watch out no matter what side you're on. The first thing you want to do when you're doing business with someone, with either the buyer or the seller, and you're not overly familiar with them, you're not entirely sure if they're legit, Google their name. There are these wonderful things on the internet called artist bewares and buyer bewares. These are things that people have written up when they've had an issue with someone that they were buying or selling with. Maybe they were just rude, maybe they didn't deliver a product they were expecting, maybe they literally ran off with the money. Like, if someone comes up with a beware, don't immediately abort mission because they're not all valid. Like, it can be anywhere from, you know, they've stolen thousands of dollars to, this person called me stinky, so I sent a SWAT team to their house and now they've blocked me, so don't do business with this person. They can be all over the shop, so either way, read them and judge for yourself from there whether or not you want to go ahead with doing business with this person. So, scams when you're a buyer. One thing to always remember is if something looks too good to be true, it probably is. Like, I know it feels awesome, you know, you've struck gold, you found someone who's got this really nice, you know, detailed painting style, they're doing full bodies for $5. That's probably not legit. They probably don't own the artwork they're saying they do. You'll either get nothing at all, a recolor of some more pre-existing art from the artist they've been stealing from, or a very poor attempt at it. But they could be legit. It's very rare, but you never know. So you want to have to do some checks. So whatever account they're posting from, see if you can go back on their profile and see how far their art goes. If it's a new account and it's pretty empty, that's a red flag. But then again, they could just be new to that website and they're normally operating somewhere else. So you need to see if you can find any other pages where their art might appear. Either ask them, look up their name, or do a reverse image search. Reverse image searching is one of the most valuable tools you can have to be able to check if someone is legit or not. So what it does is you upload a picture and then it will scour each and every end of the internet to see if it can find anywhere else that picture appears. It can't search everywhere, like if it's on a private account or something it can't get to that, but if it's like publicly on DeviantArt or something, that should come up. So if like a DeviantArt page from 5 years ago with a completely different name comes up with the same image, red flag. The best thing to do in this scenario is contact the person on the page that you've just found. Be like, hey, there's this other person over here that's using your art. I don't know if it's actually you or not, so can you please tell me if this is legit? And they'll either be like, yeah, that's me, I just use a different name and I just signed up there. Or be like, no, that's not me. They're gonna scam you. This is also why I'm just saying red flags, by the way. There are a lot of things that immediately say someone is a scammer. Just some things that bring up some concerns. So if I say red flag, it doesn't mean, oh my god, they're immediately a scammer. It's just, it's suspicious and you should double check. Because you'll find that sometimes it is legit, but it is better to be safe than sorry. Another form of art scam are tracing scammers. You know, tracing is already bad, but then you've got the people that know what they're doing. And they keep doing it and take commissions by tracing even more artwork. And it can really suck and create a huge mess because if you unknowingly own a traced piece and start using it, people will think you traced it and then you get in trouble. So I find that the key red flag for traces is line art that is really nice and perfect, but then any additions that are unique to your character tend to be a fair lower bit quality than those lines. Or like when they color it, the coloring style doesn't really match the lines either. So while their ears and all the lines are perfect, but they need to add stripes to a character, it looks like it's just been drawn on with MS Paint. Or it can be super obvious when the lines are all shaky and not very polished, but they apparently have perfect anatomy. Another red flag is huge inconsistencies in style. You know, they might be doing realistic, amazing pieces one day and really hyper-toony ones the next day. Now, they could just be an incredible artist like Jinxes, who is just crazy and so skilled they can just draw every style under the sun. But if their art doesn't look very polished and they're still able to pull up a whole lot of different styles, then red flag. And remember, to call it a tracer, you need to find the original, which can be very hard. So if you're suspicious, you can always get some help from other people, but you need to find the original and overlay it and line them up before you can call them on it. Or you might come across one of the most annoying and worst tracing scammers there is. Tracing scammers who are also actual artists. You know, they've got their own great style, but in order to pump out commissions a lot faster, they'll cheat and trace off other art. They can be very clever with it because they've still got their own really unique style that they're able to use to mask their tracing. And I myself have unfortunately been a victim of this. I'm not going to name and shame because they got caught out and I'm pretty sure they learned their lesson and they keep coming back as different names anyway. But I commissioned a more toony, fursuit friendly reference sheet of my Persona Laku, and they delivered and it looks really good and you know, it looks fine from the get-go. I didn't think anything else of it. But then later on they got called out and there was all these examples of pieces they've traced and things, and that ref sheet of mine was actually used as one of their examples. It has been traced from Texas Coyote's free reference sheet lines. Before you go, oh, but Bakari, they were free reference sheet lines. No. The thing with Texas Coyote's lines is one of the conditions of use is that you can't make profit from it. You know, you can't take commissions to color it, you can't make adoptables with it. But they very much did take a commission. I paid really good money for this ref sheet. For further proof, here's an overlay they did. As you can see, they were pretty clever about it and they didn't just trace it where I could just overlay it perfectly. They've taken bits, you know, resized them to places where they had some trouble, like looks like they've been having trouble with feet. So they've resized them, they've rotated them, they've used lots of different bits and bobs. Much harder to catch, but still caught. And if you're still suspicious, trust me, there were lots of other examples of where it was not quite so clever. Thankfully, to fix it, all I have to do is put Texas Coyote's credit back on, so there's what I have now. But it still sucks that I never got a refund because they waited long enough before it was too long to do any PayPal chargeback, so. So if you too have just discovered that you own traced art, don't panic, it's not the end of the world yet. What you need to do is contact the artists that they've traced from and ask them what they'd like you to do about it. Sometimes they'll be really nice and they'll feel sorry and be like, okay, I'm sorry that's happened to you, but just this once, I'll let you use it. Or they might be like, actually no, I worked really hard on that piece for this particular customer who paid a lot of money for it, so I'd rather you forgot it existed. Which sucks, but unfortunately, that's just how things have to roll sometimes. Life isn't always fair. And if it's been within PayPal's threshold for chargebacks, which I think is 6 months, then you should be able to get your money back too. And how you actually do chargebacks depends on your country, really. It's different to like everyone I talk to. So you're gonna want to ring up PayPal, or you want to go into your bank and talk to them on what to do. Anyway, the next form of bias scams are adoptable scams. So an adoptable is a character that someone has made or they own and they're selling it to you. However, some very low people will take characters that they don't own and pretend they own them and then sell them. If you're suspicious, do that reverse image search or see if you can find who their last owner was and ask them about it. This scam can be incredibly annoying because if it's successful in the long run, it can be incredibly hard to fix. Like, you might have owned this character for like a year now, and you know, you've got all kinds of artwork of them, you're getting a suit made, you love them to bits, and then someone's come up to you and be like, hey, so that person who sold you that character doesn't really own it, so all that artwork and stuff you've got of them is mine now. I've seen that happen before, and oh boy is it a mess. And to fix that, it's completely case by case. There is no real blanket advice on how to fix it. You just gotta work it out between yourself and the owner. Maybe you can do some edits, maybe they can agree to have a twin brother, who knows. Now, artists. There are unfortunately buyers out there that are looking to rip you off too. The most common one is when you complete any amount of work without taking payment first, and then they take that art and bail. Well, you haven't lost money, you've lost time, you've lost effort, and you've lost a piece because you're not going to really want to use this piece that has been illegitimately gotten. Even if you heavily watermark the finished product before payment, or you only send them a sketch before payment, they can still take that and bail. Like, I've seen people do that and then they trace what they got and finish it themselves, so they've still got a finished piece that is unique, but they never paid for it. So please, 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 always take some kind of payment before you deliver anything to your client. Take half payment, usually you want to take all the payments. Just take something so they can't just run. The next thing some buyers will do is give you a reference sheet for a character they don't own. Now this isn't really on you because, yeah, you know, nobody's got time to check the legitimacy of every single character they've been paid to draw, and hey, you're still getting paid, but please, please, please just at least keep some close attention and do some checks if you're feeling any red flags. And some of those are a reference sheet that is ridiculously compressed, like it is JPEG'd out the wazoo. Your buyer appears to be quite young and they have a reference sheet that is extremely extravagant, like it looks like it would have cost hundreds of dollars. It appears to be very poorly edited or anything else that just feels off. Again, not every single one of these points immediately means they're a scammer. They're just red flags, so you should do a check, but they can still be legit. The final and most difficult and infuriating scam that buyers will pull off on you is getting the commission, you know, paying you, being happy, all is good, and later on when you don't notice, they'll do a PayPal chargeback and yank the money back. There are many, many loopholes that people can find to, you know, win the PayPal dispute and keep their money back. I'm not going to tell you what they are because I don't want people to be doing them, but the main way this is avoided is if you do invoices, so actually send out PayPal invoices from like a business account rather than getting people to send you the money manually from their PayPal. But if this happens to you, get on the phone with PayPal because there's, again, no real blanket advice for this one. It's case by case. You're gonna have to ring up PayPal, be angry, and be like, guys, fix this. If you're currently in one of these scenarios, I salute you and I wish you the best of luck in your journey of getting your money back. And then the next kind of scams you gotta watch out for are fursuit scams. The most common one being when people take photos from other fursuit makers that obviously they haven't made, take commissions, take down payments, and then disappear off the face of the planet. Always, always, always check if they have an established website or other business page, just anything other than like an impulse Facebook or Instagram post. Especially if their prices are way lower than what you'd expect for the standard they're offering. You know, if it's too good to be true, it probably is. Speaking of cheap fursuits as well, please watch out for the Chinese knockoff sites. I know a lot of people have done videos on these before, but this is still worth mentioning in this one as well. Places like Alibaba, AliExpress, like all those cheapo Chinese knockoff sites. What they actually do is they take photos of, you know, pre-existing fursuits. They were custom commissioned for that person, that one unique fursuit. They've taken that and then they've started making a horrific knockoff of it. Because while you might be like, oh yeah, cool, who cares? I mean, I'm still getting a fursuit for really cheap. Yeah, but you've also inadvertently stolen someone's character because the people who own the fursuit they've used in their example photos, they have not consented to that at all. So if you're found wearing one of these Chinese suits around a public furry event, you could be in for a world of hate. Just a heads up. There are also scams where a maker, you know, actually does make suits, but they're only nice on the outside. On the inside and up close, they are a hot glue, needle everywhere, pokey, gross nightmare. A lot of the times they don't do this on purpose, they just don't really care. So again, you need to look them up, Google them, look for any bewares or reviews, or if there isn't much there, see if you can find one of their previous customers and talk to them about how the quality was. And the last one I want to talk about is second-hand fursuit scams. this one can be a little tricky. Because while yes, they actually do own the suit, yes, they're actually selling it, and yes, they'll actually deliver it to you if you buy it, the photos they use for examples, they are the original photos from the maker. You don't know what's happened to this suit in the time it's gone from the maker to this person, even if it's only been a couple of weeks, so suits can still be ruined in that short time, so you need to ask for current photos of the suit's condition. Not con photos, not other maker photos. Get them to like put something random near the head so you know it's current. Be like, hey, take a picture of your fursuit head with a piece of paper on it that has a drawing of a cat fused with a banana on it. Because while this might seem a bit excessive, you don't want to think that you're buying this and then you receive this. And for people who make suits or are just selling a suit, you need to watch out too. There are people who are looking to scam you out of your suit. And unfortunately, it's usually in the form of minors that didn't know any better. One for fursuit makers is a lot of kids will bring you reference sheets of a character they don't own because they don't really quite understand the concept of character ownership. Like, a lot of them really love telephones, so they'll be like, hello, here's a picture of this fursuit I really like, can you make me one? Or they won't ever bring a picture of the fursuit, they'll just bring the reference sheet because they knew to get that. But again, they don't quite understand that that's a no-no. Obviously, when they bring up a character that is that well known, they usually, you know, stop in their tracks pretty quickly. But there are still some that will slip through the cracks that you didn't know that they didn't own. And this unfortunately has happened to a friend of mine as well. Like, I'm not gonna name names again, but they've already got a very established character, they've got a fursuit with 2 heads of it, they've got so much art, and some little kid took that reference sheet and gave it to a fursuit maker who was a lot smaller and now is like Mexico, I think, so obviously they weren't keeping in the know of Australian fursuiters and fursuit characters, so they ended up getting a head made of my friend's character. The poor maker feels so bad, but there's not much you can do about it. Like, I don't know if the head's still running around, it certainly hasn't popped up anywhere, but it still sucks knowing that your character is, you know, has a unconsented twin floating around somewhere. So yeah, follow the same steps with the art commission checks. You know, if anything feels off or you've gotten any red flags, do those reverse image searches and just double check. And then one scam that I've seen pop up an uncomfortable amount of times lately is minors buying and commissioning fursuits using credit cards from their parents that they have stolen. Obviously, this does not end well when the parents find out. Usually they'll just yank the money back, but if the child was buying like a pre-made fursuit or something, they don't send it back. So not only are you out of your fursuit's worth, but you're also out of your fursuit. The main step that people are taking to avoid this happening to them is to just flat out refuse any kind of commission for minors or only taking minor commissions through the parent or guardian. Now, while that might sound a bit excessive, you definitely don't have to do those, but it is still good to be careful. Do some background sleuthing if you're suspicious. You know, if you find an Instagram that says they're 10 years old and they're about to pay off a $3,000 fursuit in full, I'd not do that one. And that's all the major kind of scams that I know of that I really wanted to bring up. Now, I know there's definitely going to be more out there that I've either just forgotten or didn't know, so if you know any others that I have not mentioned, please let me know in the comments below, because not only do I want to know, I'm sure everyone else watching this video would like to know, so please do that for me. And then everyone else reading the comment section, please give a thumbs up to the good ones so they're all up the top there and we can all see them. And don't forget, now that I've finished this video, I'm officially on break because I'm very heavily involved in organizing Neon Fur, so I need to go and dedicate all my time to that. And I will be on break until October 11th, so yeah, hopefully I'll see you at Neon Fur if you're coming. Thank you so much for watching this video, stay safe, and I will see you when I return.